Tonight's story is about a woman whose face became a symbol of grace, elegance, and quiet strength. A woman the world admired, adored, and placed high above ordinary life. Yet behind the glowing lights of Hollywood and the timeless photographs, there lived a fragile, thoughtful soul who carried deep memories, unspoken fears, and a longing for peace. Her name was Audrey Hepburn. This is not a fast story. It is not a loud story. It is not meant to excite or rush the mind. This is a gentle journey through a full life, from fragile beginnings, through fame and heartbreak, and finally towards stillness and meaning. As this story unfolds, it is meant to move slowly, like moonlight across a quiet room. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember. You are only here to listen and rest. The night outside is calm. Somewhere beyond the walls, the world continues, busy, noisy, demanding. But here, in this moment, time begins to soften. The story does not hurry, and neither do you. Audrey Hepburn's life, when seen from a distance, appears almost unreal. She seemed too delicate for the world she lived in, too quiet for the chaos that surrounded her, too gentle for the cruelty she would come to know. And yet, she endured. Her strength was never loud. It never announced itself. It existed in silence, in restraint, in the small decisions to keep going even when the heart felt tired. This is where her story truly begins, not with fame, not with beauty, but with uncertainty. Audrey Kathleen Rustin was born on May 4, 1929, in Ixelles, Belgium. The world she entered was already unstable, though she could not know it yet. Europe stood on the edge of conflict, its future uncertain, its peace fragile. She was a small, delicate child from the very beginning. Slender, quiet, observant. Her mother, Ella van Heemstra, came from Dutch aristocracy. She was disciplined, proud, and emotionally distant. Affection was not something she offered easily. Her father, Joseph Victor Anthony Rustin, was charming in public and unreliable in private. He drifted through life with ambition, but without steadiness. From an early age, Audrey learned to watch rather than speak, to listen rather than demand, to adjust herself to the emotional weather of the adults around her. Her childhood was not filled with warmth. It was filled with expectation. She moved between countries, Belgium, England, the Netherlands, never settling long enough to feel rooted. Large houses, quiet hallways, a sense of being surrounded, yet alone. Even as a very young girl, she had a habit of shrinking herself emotionally and physically as if taking up less space might keep her safe. When Audrey was only 6 years old, something happened that quietly shaped the rest of her life. Her father left. There was no dramatic farewell, no explanation offered to a child who desperately needed one. One day he was there, and then he was gone. For Audrey, this absence created a silent wound, a feeling that love could disappear without warning. That stability was temporary. That attachment carried risk. Her mother did not comfort her. She believed strength came from endurance, not softness. She taught Audrey to control her emotions, to hide pain, to remain composed. And so Audrey learned something very early: to smile when hurting, to remain polite when lonely, to be graceful even when breaking inside. This emotional restraint would later become part of her public image, admired by millions, yet deeply misunderstood. As Audrey grew, the world around her darkened. The political tensions that adults whispered about soon became impossible to ignore. By the time she was 10 years old, Second World War reached the Netherlands. The war did not arrive suddenly. It crept in quietly. At first, life simply felt heavier. Rules multiplied. Fear became a constant presence. Audrey's family believed the Netherlands would remain neutral. They were wrong. German forces occupied the country, the streets filled with soldiers. Food became scarce. Freedom slowly disappeared. Audrey was still a child, thin, shy, deeply sensitive, when survival replaced childhood. Her family was forced to leave their home. They moved into smaller, colder spaces. Comfort vanished. Her English identity became dangerous. She was told never to speak English again. Even her name was changed for safety. Audrey learned to be silent. Silence became protection. Stillness became survival. Despite the fear, there was one place where Audrey felt briefly free: dance. She began studying ballet, and in movement, she found something she could not express in words. Dance gave her structure, discipline, a way to exist without speaking. Her body became her language. Even as hunger weakened her, even as fear pressed down on her days, dance offered moments where the world felt distant. But the war showed no mercy. Food shortages turned into famine. Winters became unbearable. Audrey's body grew frail from malnutrition. She witnessed loss, neighbors disappearing, loved ones taken away, executions carried out publicly as warnings. Her uncle was killed by German forces. Her brothers were taken from home. The child who once dreamed quietly now understood suffering far too well. Hunger became a constant companion. Cold settled deep into her bones, and still she endured. This period left marks that never fully healed. Her lifelong struggles with health, food, and self-worth can all be traced back to these silent, terrifying years. When the war finally ended, Audrey was 16. The girl who emerged was not carefree. She was cautious, emotionally reserved, marked by loss. Her family's wealth was gone. Their status meant nothing anymore. But Audrey carried something rare, a quiet determination to move forward. She returned to dance with intensity, believing ballet could still be her future. She trained relentlessly, pushing her weakened body beyond comfort. Teachers admired her dedication but doubted her future. She was too tall, too thin. Her body had been damaged by years of starvation. The dreams slowly slipped away, and with it came disappointment, not loud, not dramatic, but deeply internal. Audrey did not cry publicly. She absorbed disappointment the way she absorbed everything else, inwardly. Life, however, had another path waiting. Without fully realizing it, Audrey began drifting toward something new, something she had never planned. Acting. At first, it was practical. Small roles, background appearances, modest pay. She never believed she belonged in front of the camera. She saw herself as awkward, plain, unremarkable. But others noticed something she could not see. A presence that felt sincere. A vulnerability that felt real. A softness that reached people quietly. Slowly, opportunities grew. And with them came attention, something Audrey had never sought and did not fully understand. As this part of her life draws to a close, the path ahead begins to glow faintly. Fame is approaching, though she does not yet know it. Love, heartbreak, admiration, and loneliness are all waiting. For now, she remains simply a young woman, shaped by war, guided by discipline, searching quietly for a place where she might finally feel safe. The night deepens. The story does not end here. It only pauses. In the next chapter, Audrey's life will begin its transformation, from survival into visibility, from anonymity into stardom. But for now, everything grows calm. The past fades softly into darkness. The present rests. The war had ended, but its echoes never truly left Audrey Hepburn. Even as the world began to rebuild itself, she carried the memory of hunger, fear, and silence within her. These experiences did not fade with time. Instead, they shaped the way she moved through life, carefully, politely, never asking for too much. In the years after the war, Audrey and her mother settled in Amsterdam. Life was simpler now. Smaller rooms, fewer possessions, less certainty. The aristocratic life her mother once knew was gone. Titles no longer mattered. Connections no longer opened doors. What remained was the need to survive. Audrey returned to ballet training with devotion. She believed, quietly and stubbornly, that dance could still become her future. Each day, she practiced with precision, pushing her thin body through demanding routines. Her teachers respected her discipline. They admired her focus. But they also saw the truth. Audrey's body had been changed by years of malnutrition. Her bones were fragile. Her muscles struggled to recover. No matter how hard she worked, the dream of becoming a prima ballerina drifted further away. And slowly, painfully, Audrey began to accept it. Not with anger, not with protest, but with quiet disappointment. She did not speak of her broken dream. She simply adjusted her expectations, something she had learned to do very well. To support herself and her mother, Audrey began taking small modeling and acting jobs. Nothing glamorous, nothing permanent. She posed for advertisements. She danced in the background of stage productions. She accepted uncredited roles in films. Acting was never a childhood ambition. It felt accidental, almost temporary. She saw herself as a dancer who had simply taken a detour, yet something unexpected began to happen. When Audrey appeared on stage or screen, people noticed her. Not because she demanded attention, but because she didn't. There was a natural gentleness to her presence, a sincerity that felt rare. She did not perform confidence. She embodied vulnerability, and that made her unforgettable. In 1951, Audrey was cast in a small role in the film Secret People. It was not a major production. Her role was modest, but it was enough to place her in the right room at the right time. After the film wrapped, Audrey attended a gathering, one of many she would soon grow accustomed to. Rooms filled with conversation, laughter, opportunity. It was there that she met Colette, a celebrated French writer known for her sharp intelligence and fierce independence. Colette watched Audrey carefully. She did not see an inexperienced actress. She did not see a former dancer struggling to find direction. She saw potential, and she made a decision that would change Audrey's life. Colette insisted that Audrey play the lead role in the stage adaptation of her novel, Jiggy. Audrey was terrified. She had no formal stage training. Her voice was soft. She forgot lines easily when nervous. She believed she would fail, but Colette was unwavering. "You are Jiggy," she said, and Audrey, despite her fear, agreed. The production was set for Broadway, New York, a city that felt overwhelming even to seasoned performers. Audrey arrived carrying nothing but uncertainty and hope she barely trusted. Rehearsals were exhausting. She struggled with projection. Her confidence wavered daily. She practiced relentlessly, late nights, early mornings, repetition upon repetition. Fear followed her everywhere, but something else followed too. Growth. Slowly, she found her rhythm. She learned how to stand in the light without shrinking away. She learned how to let her voice carry emotion without raising its volume. When Jiggy premiered in 1951, Audrey expected embarrassment. Instead, the audience rose to their feet. Applause filled the theater. Flowers filled her dressing room. Critics praised her natural charm and sincerity. Overnight, her name began to circulate. Audrey Hepburn was no longer invisible. Hollywood took notice. Film offers followed. Audrey stood at the edge of a world she never planned to enter, one filled with cameras, contracts, expectations. She was hesitant. She did not crave fame. She did not trust it. But she accepted a role in a small film that would soon become something much larger. Roman Holiday. The role of Princess Anne was delicate, restrained, quietly emotional, perfectly suited to Audrey's natural presence. She traveled to Rome for filming, unsure of herself, intimidated by experienced actors and demanding directors. Yet once again, something remarkable happened. On screen, Audrey was luminous, not because she tried to be, but because she was honest. Her performance felt real, human, unforced. When Roman Holiday was released, the world responded instantly. Audrey Hepburn became an international star. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress. She was celebrated everywhere. And yet inside, she remained the same cautious, thoughtful woman shaped by loss and restraint. Fame did not erase her insecurities. It magnified them. As attention grew, so did pressure. Hollywood adored her image, elegance, innocence, grace. But Audrey felt disconnected from the persona being created around her. She struggled with self-doubt, with relationships, with the fear of losing herself. Love entered her life, but never easily. Romance often felt complicated, tangled with expectation, imbalance, control. Still, she hoped. She always hoped. As this chapter closes, Audrey stands at a turning point. She has achieved what few ever do. Yet fulfillment remains just out of reach. The quiet girl shaped by war now walks red carpets. The former dancer now wears couture. But inside, she still searches for peace, for a place where she can simply be, without performance. The night grows deeper. The story does not rush. In the next part, love, marriage, heartbreak, and artistic growth will reshape her life again, teaching her lessons she never wanted but deeply needed. For now, the world softens. The applause fades into distance. The lights dim. Perfect. Love, control, and the cost of belonging fame arrived in Audrey Hepburn's life quietly at first, and then all at once. After Roman Holiday, her face appeared everywhere. Magazines, posters, cinema screens across continents. The world saw elegance. Hollywood saw a new kind of star. But Audrey felt something very different. She felt exposed. Every interview demanded charm. Every photograph required grace. Every public appearance asked her to be something perfectly composed. She complied politely, professionally, yet inside, she remained unsure of herself. The little girl who learned to stay silent during war had not disappeared. She had simply learned how to smile. Around this time, Audrey met Mel Furrer. He was older, experienced, confident in ways she was not. Mel carried himself with authority. He spoke fluently, decisively. He knew how the industry worked. To Audrey, this felt like safety. He admired her deeply, or so it seemed. He praised her intelligence. He promised stability. And for a woman who had spent her life adapting, enduring, and surviving, this felt like relief. They married in 1954 in a modest ceremony far from Hollywood's noise. Audrey hoped marriage would offer peace, a place where she could rest, a place where she would no longer have to perform. At first, she was happy. She loved cooking, caring for animals, living simply. She wanted to be a wife and eventually a mother. But slowly, subtly, things began to change. Mel became deeply involved in her career. At first, it felt helpful. He negotiated contracts, spoke to producers, advised her choices. Audrey trusted him, but over time, his guidance became direction, and direction became control. He decided which roles she should accept, how she should speak in interviews, what image she should maintain. Audrey's voice, soft by nature, grew quieter. She did not argue. She rarely resisted. She had learned long ago that survival often meant compliance. Together, they starred in War and Peace. The production was massive, rushed, and emotionally draining. Audrey struggled with the role. The script felt heavy. The emotional truth felt distant. Critics noticed the strain. They praised the scale but questioned the chemistry. Audrey sensed it too. Something felt wrong both on-screen and off. Her marriage, once a refuge, now felt confining. Still, she continued, because that is what she had always done. Then came Sabrina. On this set, Audrey met William Holden. He was warm, kind, attentive in ways Mel was not. For the first time in years, Audrey felt seen not as an icon, not as a possession, but as a woman. They fell in love quietly, privately. Audrey allowed herself to imagine a future shaped by affection rather than control. But the truth arrived, painful and final. William could not have children, and Audrey wanted children more than anything else. She ended the relationship, though it broke her heart. Once again, love slipped away. Once again, she chose sacrifice over desire. Her health began to suffer. Years of malnutrition during the war had left lasting damage. Stress weakened her body further. She suffered miscarriages that devastated her. Mel urged her back to work, insisting activity would heal her, but Audrey felt emptier than ever. She longed for stillness, for gentleness, for meaning beyond performance. In 1959, she accepted a role that changed her forever, the nun's story. This was not glamour, not fantasy, it was restraint, silence, inner conflict. Audrey lived in a convent to prepare. She observed vows of silence. She learned discipline not as performance, but as devotion. For the first time, she felt aligned with her work. The film demanded honesty rather than charm, and Audrey delivered. Critics praised her depth. Audiences felt her sincerity. She was nominated for an Academy Award, but more importantly, she felt proud. She had proven something to herself, that her worth did not come from beauty alone. Yet even success could not heal her marriage. Mel's control tightened. His jealousy grew. Audrey began to understand a difficult truth. She had mistaken authority for safety, and now she felt trapped. She gave birth to her son Sean in 1960. Motherhood changed everything. For the first time, her love had somewhere to go freely, without condition. She poured herself into motherhood with devotion, and slowly she began to withdraw from the world that demanded too much. By the mid-1960s, the marriage could no longer hold. The silence between them grew heavier than words. Audrey chose herself and her child. The divorce was painful but necessary. For the first time since childhood, she felt something unfamiliar: relief. As this chapter ends, Audrey stands again at a crossroads. She is no longer the girl shaped by war alone, nor the young star overwhelmed by fame. She is a woman learning slowly how to reclaim her life. Ahead lie new love, deeper purpose, and a legacy far greater than cinema. For now, the night remains quiet. The world softens once more. After the divorce, the world expected Audrey Hepburn to return fully to Hollywood. New offers arrived quickly. Scripts, studios, promises of renewed stardom. But Audrey felt different now. She was no longer chasing validation, no longer willing to trade peace for applause. Her son Sean had changed her priorities completely. Motherhood grounded her in a way fame never could. She chose fewer roles, more carefully, more slowly. And with each decision, she reclaimed a part of herself that had long been surrendered. In the late 1960s, Audrey met Andrea Dotti, an Italian psychiatrist. He was charming, younger, full of life. Rome became their shared home, warm, social, alive. They married in 1969. For a time, Audrey believed she had found balance. She gave birth to her second son, Luca, in 1970. Her joy was real. She loved raising her children, cooking meals, walking with them through quiet streets, creating a sense of normalcy she had never known as a child. But slowly, patterns repeated themselves. Andrea loved the idea of being married to Audrey Hepburn, the icon. He enjoyed attention, social gatherings, public admiration. Audrey wanted the opposite: privacy, stillness, protection for her children. The distance between their desires widened. Then came the affairs. At first, rumors, then confirmations. Audrey did not fight publicly. She did not create scandal. She endured quietly until endurance turned into clarity. She ended the marriage. Again, not with anger, but with acceptance. She had learned a difficult truth. Love that costs peace is not love. By her early 40s, Audrey Hepburn had lived many lives: a war survivor, a global star, a wife, a mother, a woman who had loved deeply and lost repeatedly. She withdrew further from acting. Hollywood faded into the background, and in that quiet space, something unexpected entered her life. In the early 1980s, Audrey met Robert Wolders. He was gentle, unassuming, calm in a way that felt unfamiliar. There was no intensity, no urgency, no attempt to shape her, just presence. They did not marry. They simply shared life, walks, conversations, silence that felt comfortable rather than empty. For the first time, Audrey felt emotionally safe. This relationship did not demand performance. It allowed rest. Around this time, Audrey accepted a role that would redefine her legacy, not as an actress, but as a human being. She became a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. This work did not involve scripts or cameras. It involved suffering. She traveled to some of the poorest regions on Earth: Ethiopia, Somalia, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Sudan. She saw children starving, mothers grieving, families displaced by war just as she had once been. The memories returned. Hunger, fear, loss, but this time she could help. She spoke with governments, raised funds, used her fame not for admiration but for action. She said once that this work healed something inside her, and it did. Audrey aged quietly. She did not chase youth. She did not cling to beauty. Her face softened. Her presence deepened. People who met her during these years described something rare: stillness. She listened more than she spoke. She moved gently. She lived simply. Her home in Switzerland became her sanctuary. Dogs, gardens, books, time. In 1992, Audrey began experiencing pain. At first, she ignored it. She had endured worse, but the pain persisted. Doctors delivered the diagnosis: cancer advanced, inoperable. Audrey accepted the truth with calm clarity. She returned home, surrounded by her sons, by Robert, by those who truly knew her. She did not fear death. She felt complete. On January 20, 1993, Audrey Hepburn passed away peacefully. She was 63 years old. The world mourned, but those closest to her knew something deeper. She had finally found what she had searched for all her life. Not fame, not perfection, peace. Her legacy lives on, through her films, through her children, through the millions of lives touched by her humanitarian work. Audrey Hepburn is remembered not only for her beauty, but for her kindness. Not only for elegance, but for empathy. And as this story gently settles into stillness, it reminds us of something quiet and true: that a life does not need to be loud to be meaningful. That gentleness can be strength, and that even after pain, peace is possible.